fade in, and we slowly fade in, and we Okay, now I hear myself. All right.
Well done.
Thank you. You will notice that it is just Matt and myself this week, but in reality, on this week's Halfy Hour on SB Nation, there are 3 people here. It is myself, Dan Rubenstein, the host. It is Matt. I was careful not to flip off the audience.
Good.
It is Matt Ufford, co-host of the Halfy Hour. It is also Matt Ufford, former Warming Glow editor, TV host. So in effect,
I have TV bona fides.
Television bona fides as we move into an episode, because we're going to go so heavy into football these next few months. We decided that it would be for the best to look at a huge television event that wasn't football and wasn't sports, to just give ourselves a sort of sense of, calm before the storm.
Yes.
And Breaking Bad is this weekend. Huge event.
It is.
It's the mid-season premiere.
Season 5B.
5B, the final. It's 8 episodes, I believe. 8 episodes. Looking at those final episodes of the series. And then sort of talking about Breaking Bad, and I want to talk about how it rates in your the pantheon of historical shows. And we have Entertainment Weekly's top 100 TV shows of all time as a guide, because
we got quibbles.
We've got quibbles. you just dikembe'd the word quibbles.
Hells yes.
I like that a lot. And because I've been reading Entertainment Weekly pretty much throughout every number 2 since I was 12 years old, I felt like this had some credibility.
Okay.
They're the magazine of record when it comes to this kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah.
So before we start, let me ask you this. Even though I spend each and every week with you at work and beyond, what has been your favorite thing of the week?
I think, and I think we'd probably have the same thing here.
It may just be.
I'll tell you what. I'll let you go first. You can go ahead and say it. I'll come up with something else.
All right. My favorite thing of this week was we were both in Washington, D.C., to meet with college football and NFL bros on the SB Nation side.
Good times.
Played a lot of NCAA football. Giant screen atop giant screen at the SB Nation DC office, playing NCAA 14, and had the distinct pleasure of having Spencer Hall, Jason Kirk, and the one and only Celebrity Hot Tub do some sort of absurd play-by-play as if shutdown fullback were covering the game.
Yeah, it was. They had their takes on Paul Feinberg callers. Like it was.
Did you say Paul Feinberg?
It's
so different.
I just made him a Jew.
I know. No, he is. No, Feinbaum still counts. He still gets it. Yeah. No, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
So it was a lot of like, let me tell you this, Paul. Missouri shouldn't even be in the SEC. I don't know why they're even on the field, Paul.
Hit his ass, Sam. That was pretty much the highlight for me too. But I'll select something different. Just for S's and G's. S's and G's.
Yeah.
I would have to say watching Russell Wilson throw the ball 6 times for 2 completions.
2 for 6. How many yards?
23 yards, I believe.
How'd he look?
A little more like beginning of season last year than end of season
Not
last
yet
year.
In a rhythm.
So still very good job at handling pressure in the pocket, escaping rushers, pass rushers.
Right.
Turned what could have been some sacks into positive yardage.
Right.
So I'm still feeling good. It's first preseason game, but I was definitely watching past midnight, having DVR'd it when I got back from DC.
And it's as enjoyable. I don't watch any real preseason football.
No, it's not enjoyable at all.
It's terrible.
But you know what it's better than?
Not
football.
Yeah, not football.
Correct.
It is indeed.
Correct.
And as we sort of transition into this weekend with the Breaking Bad premiere, first of all, I caught up on this show entirely last summer. My first summer in New York.
Had you not watched it until that point?
I had not watched it until that point. I Netflixed the first 4 seasons and got my hands on season 5 through other means.
In a totally legitimate fashion, I'm sure.
Legitimate, legal, and respectful of the writing community.
AMC. Wink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jinx. So my thoughts are that I watched the whole thing last summer and I loved it, and it was one of those things where you sort of blitz through it once you get to like season 3-ish was when it starts getting really addictive and like the whole Gus stuff.
Yeah.
That's when Los Pollos Hermanos.
Yes.
That's when it gets starting really good and tense and dramatic.
The twins and their gleaming axe.
Oh, the twins.
Yeah.
And then I watched season 5 as it was happening, the first part of season 5. So Is this an event that you've looked forward to for some time? A lot of people have been.
You know,
what is define your fandom?
I am definitely looking forward to it. Breaking Bad is certainly one of the best shows on television. Bryan Cranston's amazing.
Yeah.
The show is shot beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
More so than any other show on TV, it is it's shot cinematically, and it's
yeah.
beautiful to watch in terms of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I'm not like, oh my God, Breaking Bad. I'm not freaking out.
Right.
Like, I can.
Is there a show though for you that would have that hold on you?
See, for me, yes, it's for me my favorite shows. I'm not saying these are the best shows. These are
your favorite.
My favorite shows, the ones that I'm drawn to
the most. Yeah.
Justified.
Okay.
Game of Thrones and Archer.
So those are like your shows.
That's what I'm pumped about.
That's an adjective.
And Justified especially because it hits in February, which is right after football. So it's like I'm so depressed that the NFL season's over, and
gives
then it's
you
like,
something to look forward to.
I got Justified, and then Game of Thrones comes in like late March, early April. And that's like, so that's what gets me through my NFL offseason. That might be why I gravitate more towards them.
Right.
But TV shows, I get frustrated by all the. It seems like every blog and internet citizen seems to say that, like, hey, this is the best show on television, when there's like so many different variables that go into being the best that like nobody can agree on, and it's all these stupid conversations. And I would just like say Breaking Bad is the most intense show on television.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Mad Men is maybe the best written show on television.
Well, what are the Emmy nominations for best? I'm putting you on the spot here, and maybe when Will goes back into the studio. Hi, Will. Hello. Maybe you have a computer in front of you.
I do.
So the Emmy nominations for best television, I guess best drama, even though I would say Parks and Recreation is as good as most shows on television.
Parks and Rec is fantastic.
So what are the dramatic best show nominees this fall?
Let's find
Because I know
out.
you have Mad Men, you have Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad.
Outstanding drama.
Outstanding drama.
This is Emmy nominations 2013. So this is what we've already.
I think that's right. In any case.
Oh, they got 2012. So here are the 2013 nominations.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad,
Mm-hmm.
Downton Abbey,
Mm-hmm.
Game of Thrones, Homeland, which was the 2012
I don't know
winner.
how you called it. Because you went Downton Abbey, which is how you pronounce it, but then you went Homeland. Homeland.
House of Cards is also on the list.
Plantains!
House of Cards and Mad Men.
Okay, so do you feel like they left anything off? As for obviously they left Justified is not on there.
The Emmys are a gigantic crock of shit in the first place.
Okay.
And so here, TV bloggers can get upset about them every year. They always do. Like they always screw everything up. They think that Showtime's dramedies, which they have zero jokes in them, are comedies.
Right, your Nurse Jackie's.
Yeah, your Nurse Jackie's it got nominated every year, and it's just like there's not a single joke. Just because it's a half hour long, they're like, oh, it's a comedy.
Right.
No, it's not.
Okay.
So I'm already getting spun up.
So can you make a distinction between your favorite and most excellent on television?
You know, well, it starts with me having better taste than everybody.
Okay, that's
so
where we begin.
Once that's a given,
Sure.
of course. No. I think that it's just a matter of, rather than trying to, force all these shows up a mountain and they have to fight each other to only be one on top. Just like there's a variety of shows to be enjoyed. And like, for example, Breaking Bad has the benefit of having life or death scenarios to
there are
drive.
stakes.
There are stakes.
Yeah.
Whereas Mad Men is just it's people working in a workplace environment.
Well, they're R.I.P. Lane.
Yeah. So there's less of that stakes, and,
Yes.
and you're basically it's basically just a guy searching for himself. That very metaphysical drama, and it's a workplace. So I think that Mad Men probably does more with less.
Right.
But that doesn't make Breaking Bad any less excellent.
Correct. All right, I'm going to go specific to Breaking Bad. What are your favorite moments from the show that you hope that something can be on the level of those in these final 8 episodes? Like where is the intensity? Where is the humor? Where is the shock? When you look back at the first 4.5 seasons of Breaking Bad, what is it defined by?
For me, it's the visuals that pop. Like for me, it's the glint of the axe that the twins carry.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that's that whole scene though.
It's not just they're carrying an axe to murder a guy with. It's a shiny axe. Like it's a chrome plated axe, and like that's something that's completely unnecessary, done strictly for visual purposes, but it is so striking and memorable. That shows the kind of like detail they take into creating memorable images. And like Walt in the shower and not even realizing how close he is to death. That's one of the things that pops out dramatic wise. There's also on the other side of the spectrum, it's the pizza on the roof.
Yep, of course. First take. That's the behind the production story.
Really?
First take, he got the pizza on the roof.
And then back to the dramatic side, I would go to Jesse about to make a kill, and then Walt coming out. And spoilers, by the way, if you're watching this,
here we are.
Hey, I'm interested in tuning into Breaking Bad for the first time ever. You're doing it wrong, sirs and ladies. If
you're in the middle of season 3 right now, just go ahead and press stop and watch this when you're done with the first 4.5 seasons.
Is Walt coming out of nowhere to run those guys over with the Pontiac Aztec?
Man,
they are getting some mileage, auto term, out of their product placement ad.
Yes, they absolutely are. No, there are a ton. I was about to say like what they've done so well is the bad guys are always so good, but then you realize I think they're all bad guys.
Yeah,
I think they're all bad guys on the show. But like just Gus in and of himself and all the Pollos Hermanos stuff, all amazing.
Yeah,
leading up to his.
Oh God, the neck slashing.
That with Victor.
That was heavy.
That was maybe, and I've watched a lot of shows that have a lot of grisly shows out there that are great. You know, your Sopranos, The Wire, all those shows. But that scene with no dialogue,
hard to watch.
Very, very difficult to watch a man bleed out.
Yeah, and they didn't cut away. Like they made you watch that, and that was like one of the more.
one of the cool things I've liked about the show is the evolution of Hank. Well, not even evolution, where like the picture is painted wider and wider, where at first he just seemed like a bro-y DEA type officer, like, all right, and just like, he's a little racist, he's just a little bro-y, and like, let's ride. But then like you slowly see like, oh, he's really good at his job, and he's just like a complicated dude. Like the Hank character is fantastic, and I guess as close to a good guy or sort of heart of the show if there were to be one.
Yeah.
All of the family members are interesting. The revelation that Walt Jr. is always eating breakfast.
Yeah.
There were two revelations. It was Walt Jr. is always eating breakfast and Marie's always wearing purple.
Purple, yeah.
Right. And I was like,
once you realize this, that's actually...
just like those little nuggets.
See, I don't love the Marie always in purple thing.
Really? Because now it's distracting?
It is. It's just like, come on. I know she has something else in her closet.
Right. She just likes purple.
Ugh.
I don't know.
That's actually worth one of when we talk about everybody like focuses on like best show on television. They're so eager because it's so intense, but there are marked weaknesses in the show too.
Right. What are they?
Well, anytime Skylar's on, with the exception of I would say
Skylar's it's not even polarizing.
No,
there's a consensus that people hate Skylar.
And it's part of it is she's trying to keep the family like. If there's this woman who's a wife, newborn baby, is putting up with this awful, her husband has become a crime lord, essentially.
No, not essentially. Yeah, very directly. Yeah,
very directly, and so she should be upset about that. She should be distrusting him.
Right. You feel like the show has painted her as sort of an evil figure for wanting to break things up.
Yeah, it's. I don't think that she was given a sympathetic look,
right?
Like for what she had to do, like the writers could have done a better job of making her a sympathetic character,
more fleshed out.
We should have been rooting for her,
right?
We should have been like, yeah, what Walt is doing is BS. Come on, like let listen to Skylar.
I think though the reason that they may not have is because they painted her initially as so unsympathetic as sort of like this nag with his life and
the sad birthday hand job.
A lot of birthday HJ. So there was like all of the reasons not to like her, and then it was hard to find reasons to start rooting for her to change this drug-addled whatever.
I think running laundering the money helped move her in the right direction.
Yes, that scene with her standing with like the castle of $100 bills.
Yeah, just spray it for silverfish.
Not bad.
Yeah,
not a bad place to be. No, everything. And the final thing I really like when you're talking about just like characters, just like awesome fleshed out character. Mike Ehrmantraut.
Oh, great character.
Just perfect. I just loved watching every second of him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just stands out to me more. I mean, there's all these like the hyper tense moments and everything with obviously at the very end of season 4 or 5.5 or whatever 5.A with Hank on the toilet. It's just all those like moments where like you're not even on the edge of your seat. You're just like
yeah, and even characters who don't end up succeeding on the show.
Right.
Even guys like Gale was like intensely likable.
Right. What happened?
That's my phone is making a run for it.
Okay, that happens.
Yeah. Duffed it.
Thank you, Will.
Well played, sir.
All right, so now let me ask you this: it's the most intense show on television. Where does it rate to you historically? Now we have the Entertainment Weekly list in front of us. It's listed at number 18, which feels reasonable when you look at the other members of the top 20. It's for the most part all shows that have come to either have cult status or define a certain moment in time. Do you think it should be higher or lower?
Absolutely higher.
Absolutely higher.
Higher. Like so.
So where do you take exception?
First of all, before we go into the Entertainment Weekly rankings, and these are for the all-time greatest TV shows.
Yes.
And they have 3 main barometers or 3 main factors for this list.
Right.
Number 1 is entertainment value then and now. Number 2 is social and cultural significance.
Yep.
And number 3 is groundbreaking originality. If it changed the medium, it's given.
Are you okay with
more.
Those being?
As much as I have problems with any time your half-hour sitcoms are compared to hour-long serialized dramas.
Those feel like good qualifications
Absolutely.
For coming up with a list.
Within the problematic means of ranking all of television and the various forms of entertainment it encompasses, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
So Breaking Bad
at 18, you think should be higher. Where do you take exception with the shows above it?
All right, so number 1 is The Wire. I'm not going to argue that. Number 2, The Simpsons. I'm not going to argue that. 3, Seinfeld. Also fine with that.
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to go just rank through all the rankings, but number 5 was The Sopranos. Number 9 is Mad Men, and then notably ahead of Breaking Bad is number 8, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, ahead of Mad Men, mind you.
Right.
I'm upset about that.
I didn't watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I
don't have a fully formed opinion of it. I know that it has the cult status. It's what's his name? Joss Whedon was the creator and showrunner.
I feel like most Joss Whedon shows, it's grossly overrated by a small cabal of fans.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And those small and loud cabal of fans are right now putting together an online campaign to have me deposed.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, Whedon fans.
Wow. Okay. I see. I didn't watch Firefly. I didn't watch. What else has he done?
To Joss Whedon's credit, Firefly was pretty good.
Okay.
But mostly less so for Joss Whedon and what it was, but then for Nathan Fillion, who's amazing.
Who used that project, and yes.
Yeah.
All right, so I would actually have Breaking Bad ahead of Mad Men.
I don't know where to stand because I think that when you rank shows that haven't run their completion yet, I think especially with serialized dramas, less so for sitcoms that aren't necessarily tied one week to the next,
right?
Or even your procedurals, your dramatic procedurals that aren't an ongoing storyline per se. I would say
Mad Men, another show that was given a cinematic treatment in its look and its writing. Yes, absolutely. It's 12, 13 mini movies.
Yeah, I say Mad Men has a larger, more inclusive cast.
Right.
It has the benefit of being in the 60s. You can give it that historical treatment and take a step back.
Yes.
Breaking Bad has more of that focus, smaller cast.
Right.
I think they're neck and neck with. I'm not going to say one's better than the other. I like them both a lot.
But Buffy stands out to you. Now, have you watched a lot of Buffy?
I can't even get through entire episodes because I think it's so cheesy.
What is the appeal of the show? Like, what is the core thing that people point to why this is such a good show?
I don't know.
Really?
I honestly don't know.
No, I'm not saying what is it, but do people have people made the case for it?
I think. First of all, I think that Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, has a much more appealing Buffy. I don't think Sarah Michelle Gellar is that great.
Her name, Christy. I forget her name. What's her name?
Little help, Will.
Well, next, continue.
It was Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He was fantastic.
Yeah, really sold it.
It's like a chameleon. I honestly don't know why people consider Buffy so great.
Okay.
I guess they think it's clever. I never found it to be very enjoyable.
All right, well, let's move on from a show that neither one of us has that positive of opinion about. So where else on this list? As we look at it, Andy Griffith Show at 7, it's hard to have a strong opinion either way of Andy Griffith Show. It was so long ago, and it had no cultural impact upon us.
I can still whistle the tune.
True.
But beyond that, what I've done is I've highlighted some important TV dramas that stick out on the list.
Okay.
So I'm focusing more on the recent ones.
Please do.
But we've talked about 1 The Wire, 5 Sopranos, 9 Mad Men, 18 Breaking Bad, too low by probably 8 or 9 spots at least.
And we haven't even seen the conclusion of the
exactly.
story. Yeah.
As we go down, we see Lost at 24. Which,
now, how do you feel about Lost at 24?
It's number 24. 24 is the show.
No, I mean Lost at number 24, yeah.
I don't have a quibble with it. I found Lost as a series to be incredibly problematic.
Right.
And
I think everybody would agree, yeah.
Its fans were so devoted to the mythology of the show and thinking that there was more to it than it actually was.
Right.
Whereas I think the people who wrote the show were more interested in creating mystery than actually creating a plot that would make sense.
Right, an arc of sorts.
A natural arc. And part of that's the problem with TV itself, where you don't know if the show's going to be renewed next year, and you're just trying to get through the season rather than like, oh, okay, we're guaranteed to have 7 seasons, and so this is the arc that's going to play out. Cable dramas have done a better job of being kind of guaranteed those a chance for those storylines to be played out over a sensible.
But it's
arc.
probably the show with the best and most robust history of making the fans care.
Yes.
Of what is happening. What is the explanation for this? I must know. I have so many theories in my head where it brought out post-show thinking and sort of postulating, I think, more than any other show, maybe ever.
It kind of caught it was this right time on the TV and internet where there were message boards. It was one of the last shows where live viewing was imperative because that was part of that was just when Twitter was starting to explode. And then I feel like Lost also brought up the discussion of TV serial dramas online as well.
Absolutely. No, Lost did huge things and moved. I mean, all of the Lost clones that came out shortly thereafter and since then have almost all failed.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, which I think gives Lost even more of a boost. And it's really hard to do this well.
Yes.
And Lost did it very well to make people care.
Yeah, I think that the problem was that Lost did such a good job of teasing out new things, like new things very, very slowly, like touching upon I don't want to call it the supernatural, but like things that were stepping away from reality.
More
a bit.
Science fiction, yes.
And they were slow to get into that. It started out just being people from a plane crash trapped on an island.
Right, but then they were like, well, there's a monster.
Yeah, Smokey.
And it had Charlie from Party of Five.
Yes.
So there's that, and a wee lad from Lord of the Rings.
Moving along, there's some boring dramas that were important in moving the medium forward in the 1980s.
Hill Street Blues is one of those shows I know I need to see that I haven't watched. Is it not that good?
Well, it's just a cop show from the 80s. It's important in the way that it moved the medium forward.
Right.
Like it was a more gritty police drama
than people were used to.
That moved things in the direction that reached its peak with The Wire, of course.
Right.
But it was
Law and Order, NYPD Blue, they all have sort of their foundations.
NYPD Blue has its roots in Hill Street Blues.
Right. And pretty much every procedural show now.
Yeah.
When you look about, and that was a network show.
Yeah. And 41 Twin Peaks, only 2 seasons.
Never gave it a shot.
It's weird, it's exactly what you would expect from a TV show from David Lynch. I watched it when I was 12 with my family. I had a strange family.
Okay, and did your family like it? Did you like it at the time?
We loved it because we were living in Southern Illinois and wanted to be in the Pacific Northwest, and the show took place in the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
Even if it meant Bob smashing his head into the mirror. And you have to. I
don't know the reference.
It's super weird, but it was imperative in the way that it just took the TV drama and moved it forward into more of that. Hey, it can be more like the movies. It can be deeper TV than just an hour of blah.
True. I'd like to ask you this, even though it's comedy related and we're talking dramas, but are there shows that you find funny that were produced before 1980?
Monty Python.
Monty Python, you can sit down and have genuine gut laughs.
Yes, Monty Python's Flying Circus, which here ranks number 27 overall.
Rightfully so.
I think,
and I can, by the way, I'm just asking you because it is difficult when we have these options, when we see the short form and long form and the movies that exist now. It is sometimes difficult to sort of see the comedic sensibility in a lot of these shows.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live as well.
Yeah,
early. And here's the thing, people always say Saturday Night Live has fallen off, it's gotten worse.
Right.
It has its ups and downs, but it's always every week to week, it's hit and miss.
Right.
And there's going to be unfunny sketches. Like if you watched an entire
it's very difficult.
80 minutes from 1977, there might be that one classic sketch that you love with Belushi or with Dan Aykroyd, but you're going to have like 45 minutes where you're
still
just like,
sandwiched.
Yeah, it's still going to have hit and miss. So like SNL, which I think justifiably is 12 overall.
Yes.
Because it's a stalwart. Like
Absolutely.
30 plus years.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah, and even when like you said, even when you think like, oh, the show's stale or that it's not funny more, then you watch like Bill Hader with his like army vet puppet.
Bill Hader's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a loss for the show, but they keep moving forward.
They'll find the next Bill Hader. But like a show like The Honeymooners, will you sit down and laugh at like Archie Bunker?
No.
It's tough.
No.
And you watch and you're like, I get why this was so crazy back then. I get it.
That's what's frustrating for me in that I think that in terms of a show that I have to watch,
right,
that I find instantly funny, that I find quotable, that has like layers to the comedy, I think like Archer is the best successor to The Simpsons that we've ever had.
Yeah.
And that it's something that makes me laugh out loud every week, and I find it rewatchable and quotable.
Yep.
And there's not really a show that's quite at that level for me. Maybe I'm just drawing the line because they're both animated.
Right.
But, and it's silly because I find that like so eminently more watchable than All in the Family.
Yes. And The Simpsons has an advantage that almost none of these shows have. It's an animated show. You can just do things. Just the world of comedy is so much more expandable. And I think the brilliance of The Simpsons, the writing is brilliant. It's produced so many great writers. It's spot on. It's consistently. I don't really watch it that much anymore, but the first 14 years of it at least.
11
years, whatever
10,
the case
7.
may be.
You'll have like your Simpsons snobs will always be like,
right.
2 through 9 is what is the best seasons.
Right. But the big brilliance to me is the universe. The Springfield universe that was created is the actual like A1 thing about that show, where you can understand jokes about 78 different people.
Yeah.
You can understand a joke about Troy McClure and Hans Moleman and the Bumblebee Man and all these different people, and no show on this list, none of these 100 shows created a universe like that.
That's what's kind of scary to me about the young folks, and that people that are like coming out of college now are the same age as The Simpsons. Like they didn't grow up watching The Simpsons.
Correct.
And I don't want to live in a world where people don't get Simpsons references.
Right. If I were to say me fail English, that's impossible. And you say I don't. Why are you adjusting those words?
Yeah.
Like it's a Ralph Wiggum thing. And
yeah. No, like, it's upsetting. Or like when people would give me like Family Guy quotes instead of Simpsons, and I'm just like, what are you saying to me?
This is true.
Family Guy does have some quotable stuff. I'm not gonna take a crap all over Family Guy like a lot of people like to do. But yeah, it's just you owe it to yourself. If you're a youngster watching the show, you owe it to yourself to watch like at least seasons 2 through 9 of The Simpsons.
Absolutely. Oh,
no one knows what you're talking
about.
Shut up,
old
Will.
Man. God damn.
Where's Dinosaurs fall on the list?
Dinosaurs is number 5.
And then also, which of Guy Fieri's shows is the highest? Because I assume they're all on there.
Guy's Big Bite is 39.
Okay.
No,
and Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives number 73.
And somehow, just as a person, he shows up at 7.
7, yes. Lucky number 7.
He's right ahead of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Because we're in heaven with number 7.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I just got douche chills from that.
Rockin'. I have starred at number 45, Gilmore Girls, which should be significantly higher.
You've been binge watching Gilmore Girls.
It's a really good show.
It is a good show.
They've created their own mini universe in Stars Hollow.
Yeah.
Have you watched it at all?
I've watched episodes. I never got an entire season.
45. It made the list. It's ahead of The Rockford Files, so suck it, James Gardner.
It's ahead of Friday Night Lights, which I'm sure a lot of people will have a problem with too.
Well, Friday Night Lights had some problematic moments.
I'll tell you what. Those moments were called season 2.
Season 2, the beginning of season 2.
Yeah.
It picked up. Yeah, Friday Night Lights was fantastic.
It was Friday Night Lights, like season 1 was just like every single episode was just like, I love you guys.
Texas forever. Forever.
I will say my attention span, because I don't have a ton amount of time to watch TV, I am more geared towards the cable dramas, just because it's like 10 to 13 episodes in a season. Like, dude, like a season of 24, like that's too many episodes by a solid 12 for me.
I said this on Twitter. I don't hide behind it or hide my opinion. I don't think 24 is that good of a show.
No, it's not. 20, which by the way is
it's on here,
is 86.
And I respect the fact that it did create that sort of hooky, catchy medium. Not create, but really sort of perfected in its own way. I didn't like it's. Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was. You watch like 8 episodes. You're like, all right, they're all like. Then there's a shadowy cabal behind the shadowy cabal. Like, I just don't care.
It's not. I think if it had been
tell us where the activator is.
If it had been 3 seasons instead of 8, it would have been. I think it would have stood up a little bit better.
Right.
Going back to our list of dramas that popped out for me. 48 was Friday Night Lights. 54 NYPD Blue. 57.
I need to binge watch NYPD Blue.
Two important ones here are at 57 and 60. 57 is The Shield.
A lot of people think that should be higher.
And 60 is at 60 is Deadwood, which only got 3 seasons on HBO.
Right.
Never got the chance to close the show properly.
Did you like Deadwood?
Yes.
I think I was too young when I wanted to really like it and enjoy it. I think I was probably like 16.
Deadwood was on the air when I had just started my Marine Corps career, so there's a hole in my viewing experience. I just straight up didn't watch TV from like 2000 to 2004.
Okay.
The one episode that I caught was just in the middle of the run, and I was like, I was like a Marine, and I was like, I swear like every third word, and this is too much swearing for me.
David Milch, it's Milch, right? That did that show?
Yes.
I feel like it is, yeah.
And I feel like that's an unfair judgment,
right?
And B, I think that I'd need to go back and just give it a fair shake, just because everybody said so much about it. I got to go back.
I tried the show he tried to do after Deadwood, John from Cincinnati.
Oh, people hated that.
Really bad.
My old roommate Kirk was like the only person who ever loved that show.
I did not like that show.
Yeah,
it was just not for me. What else do you have starred?
At number 72, Battlestar Galactica.
Tried watching that, and I don't feel like I gave it a fair shot.
I think that in the last couple ones, The Shield and Deadwood were important in that, like, The Shield pushing basic cable serial dramas, taking them to the next level. And Deadwood as well, pushing like HBO's standard a little bit higher. Battlestar Galactica was it was interesting in that, like, your basic cable put sci-fi on the map, and that they had never done like really good original series until that point,
right?
Or since zing. But the first 2 seasons of that are like really, really good, and then the final 3 are just
so you watched all mess. You watched through it all.
I stopped watching like season 3 or so.
Really?
So it just and then I talked to people who were still watching, and they were just like, I hate it.
I feel like the Venn diagram for people that love Battlestar Galactica and Buffy the Vampire Slayer is just a circle. It's just one single circle. I would think it's pretty close. Yeah, I think
because the people who are usually tied into that are into like the badass like female lead characters.
Right.
Where Whedon falls apart is that his badass lead female characters usually weigh like 85 pounds.
Yeah, they're real small.
At least Battlestar Galactica had like their Starbuck was played by like a strong kick-ass woman.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
Katie name's blanking.
Sackhoff?
Katie Sackhoff. Nice pull.
Thank you very much.
Pull. And then
I have a quick hypothetical though.
Yes.
Go.
It's TV related.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We talked Simpsons already. Talked
Archer.
We did. If you could live in any animated world, which one would it be?
From Archer or The Simpsons?
No, any animated world. King of the Hill. You know.
Oh, okay.
All those animated shows.
Okay.
You would have to have really, really low sight set to choose King of the Hill, Will. Like, I just want to live in a...
It basically was my childhood already.
Yes.
That and or Friday Night Lights.
It's a simple life. You like your beer, you like your football, you like your grilling.
Yeah.
You could do worse things.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what.
I would choose Archer just for the sexy ladies and the hard drinking people and the glamorous locations and the cool cars.
You could also be the one working at the laundromat, the front though.
That'd be cool. I get to see them every day.
You get to see him like, hey guys, you're still sexy.
Have Archer just insult me every day.
That'd be nice. I might say the Jetsons. That could be really fun.
Have you heard the conspiracy that the Jetsons and the Flintstones they're going on at the same time, but the Jetsons are like the upper class?
Yeah, I've heard that. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to give that more thought.
Yeah.
That's a good question, though. Cool World would be a fun time.
I just want sexy cartoon Kim Basinger.
Sexy cartoon Kim Basinger. I mean, if there were an animated world that was like me coming home to Jessica Rabbit, yeah, I could get on board with that. That's a good question. Well, I think we're going to give that some more additional thought. Any other shows that stand out to you on this list? Comedies, dramas. Chappelle's Show at 66, I think should be higher.
Yeah,
when you look at some of them.
I think it's pretty like historically important.
Freaks and Geeks, I really liked.
No,
really, you did. I know you didn't like Freaks and Geeks.
Hated it.
But you'll admit to a reason why you didn't like
yes,
it. It's not because of the quality of the show necessarily.
The quality is incredibly high.
Right.
But the reason that the high school shows that do well is because they depict high school in a completely fake manner.
They're a utopia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do a horrible job of reflecting the realism of high school.
Right.
When you depict what an awful, terrible place high school is, as Freaks and Geeks did,
Right.
it's unwatchable. It just reminded me, I was like, oh God, high school was terrible.
Yeah.
And I hate these people.
Yeah. I see. I felt like I had enough distance from high school where I just appreciated the show,
I don't think
the
I'll
humor.
ever have enough
Really?
distance from high school.
Wow. Maybe that's another show.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an entirely different.
I would like to close the Game of Thrones at 76 is both at the same time too low and premature because it's not that we have no idea. Like the show could run 4 more seasons, 2 more seasons.
Here's my problem with Game of Thrones being on this list at all.
It's too awesome.
I have no idea if it's awesome or not awesome. I haven't watched. But here's my deal with Game of Thrones. The source material was all there. Granted, they've pulled it off very, very well in a great way. But this is the source. It's not like there are writers coming up with, where's the story going to go next season? Like, you know where the story's going. You don't know how they're going to arrange it. You don't know how it's going to be executed. But you have a general sense.
Now, see, I think that you're speaking as someone who has neither...
I haven't read or watched. That is correct.
You have not. So you don't... I feel like... I feel like you got to give
and I want to watch this. I'm not watching this for that reason.
So I think that there's a lot of difficulty in condensing a 600-page book into 10 one-hour episodes.
Correct.
That's incredibly difficult to do, and the show has managed to be faithful to the source material while also giving certain characters more depth.
Okay.
And also streamlining storylines where George R.R. Martin has gone off in his little rambling universe.
No, it's absolutely a separate kind of challenge than writers for Mad Men or Breaking Bad who are coming up with the source material themselves.
And which is a creative...
which they also have 2 categories in the Oscars because of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that... as difficult as it is to come up with your own storylines, whatever, it's also incredibly difficult to adapt something
Absolutely.
so vast, and to make it applicable or to make it a sensible, digestible 10-hour experience.
Have you served time in Oz?
I never watched Oz. Again, that's part of my dark window of adulthood. Also, I would like to say, going back, I hate to circle back to things that we've moved on from.
Right.
But
regarding
Will's question about animated worlds, Spencer Hall, our editorial director, has chimed in with saying the world of Frisky Dingo.
Ooh, Frisky Dingo. That's a good time.
Which is kind of like Archer, but with a sci-fi tinge.
Yes. It's much more sci-fi, and you have a character named Killface.
Killface, radioactive ants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could get down with that.
And people saying boosh.
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 And or cacao.
Or cacao. Oh, that is a good world. All right. I think, look, we have the list down below the window in which we are speaking right now on sbnation.com. So leave your thoughts in the comments about higher, lower, things like that.
You're trying to take us out, and I want you to take us out.
Yes.
But I also don't want you to close the show without me saying that it is a crime that should be punishable under United States law.
Yeah.
That Justified is not in the top 100 all-time greatest shows, because that show kicks ass.
I mean, it's no Grey's Anatomy at number 95.
Oh my God.
But I am agreeing with what he's saying.
Whoever is responsible for Grey's Anatomy being the 95th all-time greatest show while Justified is not, I would like them to appear in front of me, and I want to hit them square in the nose until blood streams out of their nostrils and their eyes well with tears. And then they can go. I don't want any more or less than that. I just want to hit them in the nose once.
There it is.
What are the bottom 5 on the list?
Bottom 5. 96 is Malcolm in the Middle. Which didn't really watch a ton of, but I could appreciate.
All-time greatest, really?
The Comeback, which I want to say is Lisa Kudrow.
Yes.
Wasn't that her HBO Showtime show?
I think so.
That was really recent, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus, how could that make that's a goddamn ridiculous
I think
piece
I pronounced
crap.
Kudrow correctly, though. I don't believe it's Kudrow. So I'm pretty happy about that. Bewitched, which is the bing, bing.
Sure. Okay.
It's one of those all-timer shows. Alias. Did you watch much of Alias? J.J. Abrams?
It put J.J. Abrams on the map, so yes. I guess, okay. A Brady Bunch, sure. Marcia.
Yeah. Did you watch Felicity? That's on here somewhere. I thought I saw Felicity.
I saw a season of it.
Okay, there it is, number
it's a good
90.
Show. I'm not against it.
I would have Star Trek. Well, is there Star Trek and Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Yes, they're both on there.
I would. Where is Next Generation?
Star Trek, the original, is 91. Next Generation is 69.
All right, that's about right. As long as it's on there. Other than that, Family Ties in Living. I like In Living Color actually.
In Living Color belongs on there just because it was. It was
groundbreaking.
It was a variety show on Fox, and it's like, hey, a black audience exists, and we're going to put black actors in it and actually appeal to people who aren't just white.
Right.
And I think that's actually a pretty big step forward for TV, although networks have seemed to abandon that train of thought.
Will and Grace ahead of Project Runway. Your thoughts?
Well, they got the gay shows covered.
They do have shows covered.
No, Will and Grace is really important. And the same thing with Ellen. Like having gay characters on TV is a huge step forward.
He meant gay as in cool and hip.
Yeah.
I would have South Park at 87 ahead of Will and Grace.
Oh yeah.
I would have South Park much higher.
Yeah, South Park. I mean, it's really taken the mantle from its longevity. Mm-hmm. Simpsons here is number 2, of course. South Park, while
I would not live in South Park, by the way.
No, that's a lousy animated world to live in. I think that South Park, because it's kind of hit and miss from week to week,
right? True.
Doesn't get a lot of the credit that it's due, because it can have some fantastic weeks where their manic creation of the show can hit on things that are in the now.
Recent, absolutely.
It's like modern criticism.
Right.
And it does that really well. I think that South Park deserves to be a little bit higher. I think Justified should be, 5 on the list.
5, number 5. Or 5 different spots should be occupied by the show Justified.
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes. All right. Once again, the full complete list, which came out weeks and weeks ago, is beneath the box in which we are speaking, is on the SB Nation page. So let us know in the comments what should be higher, what should be lower, where you would arrange everything, and what you think of Matt's glasses. I like them.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to see you next week on the Halfy Hour, and things are going to get a lot more football-y.
Yes.
Bye.